If you're just joining, we're starting in a seated meditative position. And I'm letting you kind of decide this morning how you want to open that practice on a subtle level. Sometimes it's good to just sit and almost do nothing, right? Just kind of connect to the body and breath, I often say it as. Some days it's good to do some active breathing methods, breathing deeper and smoother in and out the nose. Some days I don't think about the breath. I do more of the mental focus, intention setting. Some days a gratitude meditation, mantra, a chant. Let me give you another minute or two here to open up your practice. They call this entering the gateway of the yoga practice. And you take this more mindful, present, self-aware state into the first more active position when you're ready. Downward facing dog. If you want to mix in anything, right? A little cat-cow or something, that's cool. All right, but we're going to go straight to inversion. That's classic Hatha yoga. Easier inversion would be child pose. If you're feeling great, bigger inversion would be like headstand. So let me give you another minute or two here. It's basically a second round of meditation, right? You can stay with your intention of the first form. Remember, some days you need more of that kind of creative personal practice. Some days you follow the group, the instructor more. Sometimes I go into these yoga classes and I try to follow the teacher to a T. I set that intention. I will not stray at all from their instruction. And then some days I will kind of really only do my own thing, right? All right. And then we'll get into our first movement. It's basic to start since we're starting pretty active here. On the inhale, you shift forward to plank. On the exhale, you shift back to dog. So it's kind of like that little broken part of the breaking the sun salutation vinyasa down, but we're just shifting forward, shifting back. That's a really nice dynamic stretch for the legs. Every time you push back in dog, lift those hips up and back. You're waking up the shoulders. Don't forget, it's kind of like a cat-cow. As you shift forward to plank, you're kind of tucking the tailbone round in the spine. As you shift back, you're kind of arching the back more, pulling the chest forward a little bit more. All right, so a lot happening here actually in this simple movement. Just giving you something basic here to start with. Okay, and then I'm just going to move you through some things here, yogis, all stuff you're familiar with at this point. Knee back and down dog. It should be difficult already, right? You're on those arms a lot. You're going to rest when you need. Three-legged dog. You might step your feet closer together. Right leg lifts. Let's just go right for the open hip. Kind of stretch out. Take a breath or two there. You might circle your hip or your ankle. Those are all good. If you need extra movement, you can kind of add that. Drop the right foot down, downward dog, left leg rises, boom, right into it. It's basically second down dog hold, adding something here. You kind of stretch it out. Just notice things like your neck tensing, if your left leg lifted, that right armpit tends to dip down. You kind of just get lazy in that arm, that core area. Lift that right shoulder up, open that hip. Okay, and then you take it slow here, yogis. We're going to meet back in down dog. We're going to shift forward slowly back to our plank. You might want to drop to the knees for this part. Let's do a few kind of push-up type movements. Shift more forward, bending the elbows, straightening the elbows. Push-ups are fantastic exercise. They are full body. They're a compound closed chain. You can do it first exercise if your arms are feeling, good that day. All right, so a few more here. This is that first bent arm, yogis. Sometimes you don't bend as far to start. You just bend a few inches. And then as you get into it, you might bend a little further. Last few, one round for now. And then you'll take it down to your chest, taking that first little back bend here, guys. Remember, I like to suggest usually starting in like a gentle cobra. Plenty of time to go further today. The idea is an active back bend. That means I can only back bend as far as I can activate. So I'm not pushing into range. I try to express the idea, yogis. Really lengthen muscles. Stretching weak muscles is not really recommended these days, okay? We're gonna meet back in down dog, okay? If you need a quick child pose, that was a good moment here. So I want to go for a bigger movement now. It is that lunge twisting. I'm going to add 3 poses here, yogis. And I'm going to kind of give you this little flow, and then you're going to go into it on your own. On your inhale, you're going to lift your right leg up. On your exhale, step the right foot forward. Okay, now we're getting to a little bit bigger, more complex movements. Inhale, right arm goes up and open. Exhale, right hand goes down. You might want your blocks, right, for this whole thing. Right leg starts to straighten. All right? It starts to straighten is the key way to say it, yogis. You don't need to go far to start. Okay? Back knee goes down. Inhale, arms up. 3 classic yoga forms here. All right, a twist, a forward bend, a back bend. Hands plant, right foot back, chaturanga. This is where we're going to get more of those big movements in. Maybe into your up dog or cobra. And then downward facing dog. I'm just taking it slow to start. You're more than welcome to move fast. Inhale, left leg rises. Try to really lift because we're not doing it on the knee today. Left foot steps forward. It starts, inhale, left arm up and open. Nice twist here. Left hand down. Might step your back foot in a little bit. Front leg straightens. Pyramid posture, right? So the inhale was the twist. The exhale is the pyramid. Back knee goes down, inhale, Anjayanam. You can keep your hands on the floor, lift your chest if you're feeling good. Right arm or both arms up. Try to press the big toes down. We're already in the big poses here now. Okay, hands plant, left foot back, chaturanga. If you're up for it, extra push-ups. Up dog or cobra. Meet back in down dog. When you're ready for second round, inhale, right leg lifts. That's for the butt. Exhale for the core, knee to forehead. Step the right foot forward. Right arm up, inhale. Twist. Press the big toes down on that twist, yogis. Right hand down, right leg straightens. That's your exhale. If we're doing vinyasa, inhale, anjana. Back knee down, arms up. Right foot back, chaturanga, or skip it, just step back to down dog. It's a very classic kind of yoga start here, right? Left leg rises, inhale. Left foot forward, exhale. Work that core crunch. Inhale, low lunge twist. Exhale, pyramid, straighten the front leg, forward fold a little bit more. Back heel does not need to seal. As you get more open, it might seal easier. Back knee down, inhale, anjana. Left foot back, chaturanga. That's a movement to low plank. Inhale, up dog or cobra. Exhale, down dog. Let's go through about 3 to 5 more times. Inhale, right leg high. Exhale, right foot forward. Inhale, right arm high, twist. Exhale, right leg straight, pyramid. Inhale, back knee down, Anjanasana. Exhale, chaturanga. You've noticed I've sped it up a tiny bit each round, emphasizing now a little bit more movement. When you get back in dog, inhale, left leg high. Exhale, left foot forward. Inhale, low lunge twist, left arm to the sky. Exhale, straight leg pyramid, forward folding a little bit more. Inhale, back knee down, back bending a little bit more. And then go ahead, take it through your chaturanga and see if you can do like 2 more on your own, 2 or 3. Just kind of getting into it. If it's a little too much, doing a few rounds is totally fine. There's a lot of room to kind of make this personal and add postures. This is going to be like, a heavy dose of those chaturangas. You're going to get another opportunity or 3, but this is the heavy dose, okay? I always talk about trying to get out of the obsession with alignment, but I do want to remind you that, like, I say posture is the priority, and another way we say that in yoga is alignment. So alignment is the priority, and I don't often like get too technical in poses. I verbalize them sometimes, but just try to slow down enough to where you're being more mindful than you normally are about what you're doing with your body. I try to express it as like every joint part of your body has more intention. You're not just kind of flopping body parts around. Think of the ballerina dancer. Everything is like articulating in graceful strength. Okay, last few moments here, please. If you're joining, we're doing a little flow here. I think everyone was in class for the demonstration. I like to stop demoing, so you stop looking at the screen, you kind of get into your practice. Last moments here, please. All right, so a nice little warm up there for the twist, the core, the hip. The leg lift was for the back core, the butt, and then that knee to chest was for the abs and the hip flexors. Got a nice hamstring forward bend and a nice back bend hip flexor stretch. Let's get a little bit more complex in movement, but still basic. All right, I'm going to meet you here. I'm just going to keep moving forward for time's sake. Now, I'm just going to start like this. There's a lot of ways to do this. This keeps it a little bit more active, not hyper range building. You widen your knees a little bit, you rise up, and I just start to now draw circles at the core. It's almost like I go to child pose, a side bend,
a back bend, a side bend. If it feels better to like have your hands on blocks, you know, and kind of circle like this, it gets a little deeper though, right? So this kind of restricts hyper range because you got to engage muscles more. Go ahead, get into this, yogis. Even like all that core work, that warm up, it was very linear. The twist was very linear. The step forward, the leg lift. Now it's very complex, putting more together. Okay, just notice, yogis, if you need that demo, watch me here. I do gotta go into a subtle back bend, right? So I'm not staying here. Sometimes you see people, they get nervous to go into extension. We did some cobras, all right? We did some anjanasanas. We're ready to go a little bit more into that back body shortening, which we call back bending in yoga. So here you go, get into it, last few. Some people like to do it like this, right? You can put your hands on your hips and the arms kind of swoop around. Kind of reaching up and over. I'm reversing directions if I haven't. If you have back pain, you know, be very easy here. Remember, back pain people, slower, less range of motion, please. Just stronger and less focus on going further, doing more.
You know, we do this standing too. I'm just doing another thing or three here on the legs before we stand up. All right.
And right from here, yogis, is our next position. It is a static position. So we're going to rise up. Right foot goes out to the right. Now, I want you to think of this as a reverse warrior two. Press the outer edge of that right foot down. I am facing you directly. You can see my toes are also facing you. Right hand down the right leg, left arm up and over. We're going to do a couple parts here, yogis. We'll be up to standing soon. Just notice I'm engaging the thigh. It's hard to see here, but these muscles are engaging to kind of protect the knee. I don't want this leg to get lazy, and then we'll push weight down on it. All right, big inhale here, please. That's a big side stretch, a little inner thigh stretch. Left hand might take the block or the floor out to the side. Okay, now look, it's right in the side body. Everyone's familiar with this. Right leg lifts. Top arm reaches forward, a little bit of core work for you this morning. Big inhale. Just notice I do push my hips forward. Exhale, knee to elbow. If this is too much, just hold that pose, no big deal. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. So I am going a little bit more posterior tilt in this exercise. I can put my foot down if I feel like I need more stretch. Last few. Try to squeeze on the core a little bit here, guys. Okay, and you should feel the left glute working a lot as well because it has to like stabilize your weight, okay? I'm gonna meet you here, won't do too many there. We're basically gonna switch sides. Left foot out, please. Press the left foot down, inhale the right arm up and open. Okay, big side stretch now. Taking some big breaths into my nose. I like to, again, take deep breath there maybe and hold the breath. My knee's a little sensitive there, so you want to pad it, right? In my other job in massage, a lot of times I'm kind of like on my knees for a long time, and sometimes they're sensitive from that. So I have to honor the condition of the body, not just beat it up more. Okay, now that next part, we kind of tighten in this side and move that left side. Right hand on the floor of the block, left leg lifts. Try not to curl into a little ball here, yogis. Nice long core posture. Inhale that arm up over the ear. Exhale if you want that core work today. Inhale, Exhale. If not, holding this posture is a super good core as well. Exhale, inhale, exhale. It's just like three-legged dog, right? The leg is kind of going back behind you. Back behind you, feel the glute kind of hit harder. And then exhale, it's like you're bringing your knee into your chest. You did that already a lot. So it's that same movement. Seems very different. Okay, now I have one more little arm bearer here. You're going to finish that up. You're going to meet me in tabletop just to give the wrist a little break here after the flow and that. You come down to your forearms. We didn't really hold the plank. How about we get one in with a little added work here? Forearm plank if you're up for it today. Feet about hips width distance. Just be a little easy here. This is kind of like a fitnessy thing. It's really a cool way of working your plank. Feet are about hips width distance, right? You drop your heels over to the right. So you're on the inner edge of your left foot, outer edge of your right foot, but both forearms stay on the floor. You're not going to side plank. You just kind of did that. And then your heels come back to center. And then you go over to the left and you pause for a few moments. And then you come back to center and you go over to the first side and you do some work here now, yogis, for the core. Try to pull the belly in a little bit, engage the butt and the thighs. A lot of days we hold this, but today, maybe pausing, but kind of moving side to side, let's say. Like I said, sometimes yogis will say, oh, that's not yoga, but what makes a lunge more yoga than a certain other exercise? It's the intention, it's the mind state, right? What is yoga? It's making exercise more, our objectives might be different. It's setting more intention. It's making exercise meditative. It's like merging meditative intentions into exercise. Yogis do push-ups, so do fitness people. Just try to, use your breath, connect to your body, be present with yourself, remember your intentions, and you're making something yoga. That's why they say yoga is like a lifestyle. It's not a practice. It's not like an hour of your day. Yoga is like, you can be more yogic around the house. You can be more yogic walking the dog or at work. All right, take it down to the chest, yogis. I do got one big stretch for you now. All right, big chest opener here before we stand up. Lay on your chest. I'm not going to hold you here long, yogis. We haven't been doing this that much. I got to add this section a little bit more. Right arm out, left hand close to the body. If you want more, bend your right arm, 90-degree angle. It's not like this. That elbow's up about as high as the shoulder or even slightly higher. Press your palm, elbow, shoulder down. Push through your left hand, roll open to the left. This one can get confusing. Let me give you one more demo. I like to show you upright in that one. So I'm here, and then I roll to the side that the arm is out. So the arm is going back behind you. Gaze to the left, deep breath, head on the floor. Right, couple of postures that you did a flow, and then you did that core work. The turning, there was all kind of strenuous, some awkward things too. Now you kind of get into a nice comfortable position and you ground. Remember, I like to suggest trying to stretch your tighter side a lot more, please. It does not have to be the same. Do not follow me or anyone else in class. Follow the instincts and inner information that the body, the mind, the spirit is presenting, okay? Second side when you're ready. What happens, sometimes that shoulder that you're stretching, it tends to like lift up and the head gets kind of restricted and the neck tight. Just try to get that shoulder away from the ear too, right? You are actively pressing the arm, like elbow, hand, and shoulder down. Yeah, it's a moment to stretch. I see one or two of you is doing a different stretch. That's cool. As long as you're just kind of like, I'm just using it to ground your mind and body for a moment.
kind of release a little bit. Okay, and then, you're gonna like finish this up at your own pace. You might want an up dog or a cobra or a child pose, but you're basically gonna meet me back in down dog. So it's been a while since our down dog. You get back there. That was first position on the active form. If you came in a little after we started, did a seated meditation for about 2 to 3 minutes, and then we went right into down dog. Boom, first position, right? So you come back to your dog, you take a breath or 3. It's almost like you're starting over, right? All right, and then you're gonna bend your knees, look forward. First time doing this, walk your feet skillfully to the front of your mat. Okay, you might take a little inhale, half lift. Let's reach for those toes on the exhale, a little swaying or intertwining your forearms, pulling on the feet. Depends on how you're feeling. Lots of versions here. Some mornings I like to put my hands behind my head and kind of lengthen the back of the neck, tucking the chin to the chest slightly. And that's gonna kind of replicate a plow pose form where the back of the neck's lengthening. The chin is slightly tucking to the chest. It can be pretty intense, so be easy. Most common way I do this probably is arms behind my back, binding the fingers, reaching the shoulders up and over. But you just did a front shoulder stretch, so you might not need that. All right, now our next posture is boom, it's going to be right in the chair pose. Now, I'm going to suggest a few things, but as long as you're in the chair area, that's good. I'm allowing you to make a choice here. So you'll find your chair pose. Sometimes I like to hold a really deep chair. Some days I like to hold like a higher up chair. It's different. Some days feet close together, sometimes feet wide, or even hips with distance, right? Try to find a nice kind of artistic but disciplined approach toward your chair. Some days we squat up and down. I'll skip that for now because we did some movements earlier. Some days I kind of like walk a little bit in chair, even hover one foot if I'm feeling good already. A one-legged chair. Let me give you another, to get you a hold this one, yogis, another 45 seconds or so. And the goal is to burn those legs, all right? Strong legs is the priority, yogis. Nice, last 20 seconds here. Nice, Stephen, a little heel lift one. That's a good one. Nice walking chair. Sometimes chair gets too stiff and rigid, so I've had you do all types of movements here just to make sure you see it too much in yoga. Like that's why alignment is the king, but the queen is like not being rigid and being like a freedom in it. I mean, strength is first, probably, but then being able to move freely. You don't want the body to be tight and restricted and stiff. Okay, nice job there, yogis. Stand up. So we're gonna go right into those postures, yogis. It is front and back to start. We did some complexities and laterals and twists. We just came from all that stuff. Now it's back to kind of sturdy. Warrior 3, boom, right into it. Options, hands on the hips. If you want a little bit more, you didn't get to do it, arms behind you, or even reverse prayer if you're feeling good. Fists, elbows, some of us can even turn those hands together. Big shoulder opener. Left foot hovers and starts to hinge with that spine. All right, let's breathe here. Bend that right knee a little to start. Either flex your left foot or point your left toe. I do both. For so many years, I would flex my foot here, the back foot. So for many years now, I've pointed the toe a little bit more. I was just naturally going to the flex the foot today, but notice that pattern in the foot, some type of active intention in the foot, please. You're working on straightening the bottom leg also, and even elongating the spine. Last few breaths. Remember, you don't have to go very deep, and there is even deeper, which is like we call it toppling tree. It's almost like an active warrior 3/standing splits. Okay, where you go actually below parallel and the top leg goes higher. your bottom knee would bend at that point. Slowly stand up, left foot lands next to the right. You might take like a little lift in the chest, a posturing Tadasana moment, squeezing the glutes. And then boom, right into it, please. Right foot hovers, and like a lever, like your body, your spine moves with your leg, and then boom, eventually you're parallel to the floor. Hold that position, yogis. We're going into a little bit more holding postures, nice strengthening ones. Chair into our warrior three. Looks good, everyone. Just drop that right hip down, right? It's not half moon. The hip wants to lift, you drop it down, and then lift the leg via the hip, and straighten the knee via the thigh, the quadricep. Please go slow. Meet in standing position. Open up nice and wide. So we didn't do high lunge. We're going to do a little movement through lunges. This is strength legs. Just remember that. This is now a little bit more. I want to work on that rotational quality that we lack in yoga a lot. This dynamic rotation. Just be easy around the toes, right? If you're new to the pivoting on the barefoot, usually you might do this with shoes on or something, right? So just be easy. I'm going to settle into this second round of chair, let's call it, where the legs are really open, the feet are really turned, okay? Now, just to start, I can keep my hands in prayer. Let's not worry about the arms. Let's really focus on the hips and the core. So it's basically a chair into it lunge. We did a lunge earlier, but this is that next round strength. I turn the right hip in. I drop the right knee down. I pivot on the feet to face over the left leg. And at that point, I'm in a bent knee lunge. I'm squeezing my inner thighs together, pressing my big toes down. Got it? And then after a nice pause, I work on that pivot back. I press the outer edges of my feet down, returning back to squat. And then boom, I start to pivot on the second foot, turning those left knee in, big toes pressed down, thighs scissor. So it's the opposite of my inhale, wide chair, outer edge of feet down, I push my thighs back, boom, I turn in, scissor my thighs together, inner thighs light up, big toes pressed down. Continue, please. It should be work, yogis. You know, we have to find, you know, strong mind when we're trying to work building the legs. You know, especially if you're new to it, it takes a lot of willpower. All right, it's not supposed to be easy. We do this in a lot of ways. You know, if it's warm up, I'll have you kind of like move a lot in it, you know, kind of moving through space with less kind of restriction. But I want it to be slow, so you're feeling some of the rotational qualities and the lateral, the inner thighs on the lunge and the outer thighs, legs, butt on the squat. Inner and outer, rotational, internal and external. Okay. Should be a kind of tough moment, right? Now, I'm going to start you on the left first. Next time, you take your time. I know this can be strenuous. We won't do it too long here. You're meeting the lunge. You might slide your back foot back a little bit. All right. Okay. Go slow here. Arms go up. Take your lunge. And I'm going to do that high lunge. Since we did the low lunge twist earlier, the high lunge twist. See if you can work slowly. Left arm goes back. Right arm goes forward. Don't forget, you can bend both knees, yogis. You don't need to be straight back leg here. You know, when people in fitness do lunge, they're like always bent knee, right? And then when people do lunge in yoga, they're like obsessing over the straight leg. Now, see if you can flip your right palm up, big stretch now. Left hand goes back down the right leg, right arm goes up. We're on the same side lunge, twisting across to the left, right arm goes high. Exalted warrior here in the revolve form. Legs should be fatiguing too, hopefully. Okay. So it's a big complex stretch for the core and the legs. Okay, back down over to the squat. And now let's pivot to face our second side lunge. All right, arms go up for a moment. Let's take it slow here. Okay, and then you're going a little ahead of me. Right arm goes back, left arm goes forward. All right, now work that core twist, pull the ribs and belly in, shoulders back and down, arms straight, knees a little more bent. Last moments here. Eventually flipping your front palm up and right hand finds the back of your left leg. Yeah, if your right leg's in front of you in the lunge, you're twisting to the right. Your left arm is in front. So it's not reverse warrior two, it's kind of the opposite almost, right? Left leg's in front, right arm's going up. You're turning to the left. There. If you know your fitness, this is a part of our coil stretching. You could add a little bit more into the hips, but it's basically some of the biggest stretches in the human body, right? And it's nice because our legs are stable. You're kind of in a rotation, you're kind of in a back bend, you're kind of in a lateral, really cool position. We should do maybe a little more. All right, let's go here, yogis. Back to our wide angle chair. Now take a moment here. Parallel your feet, please. Take your hands on your hips for a moment. Take maybe a little back bend. So just notice, you can say back bend, people will go like this and they'll say, look, my back is bending. But really, I want a little hip extension too. That can be tough. Hip extension with the posterior tilt. So if people go like this, and that's not what we don't want. That's a hip flexion, anterior tilt. It's like the opposite. My tailbone tucks and my hips go forward. So it's almost like my hips are my furthest point forward in the body for a moment. Just like Cobra is like the hips would be forward and down, right? All right, and then you come back through center, and then let's take that forward fold. This would be a fun opportunity for an inversion, yogis. If you have a headstand tripod, pulling on the floor is an easier option, or even on the ankles. Just to be clear, I am going to do Skandasana in a moment for us. So we are going to get a nice kind of, after all that lunge work, chair, warrior three, now you get kind of a stretchy, lungy type position for more of the legs. So this is a little bit more of an opportunity to take a big inversion or just to kind of invert, soft, ground and center. The idea in a lot of yoga realms is throughout the practice, there's these, mid-class meditations. You could just sit. Sometimes we have to sat and just breathe, right? But you give you an easy pose, easier. And then you can apply more meditative intentions when the strain and it gets very exercisey, okay? Now, Skandasana work. When you're ready, headstanders, you're just doing your thing. There's no reason to exit that position if you're feeling good in it. So I'm here in the straddle. I'm going to put my hands on blocks, lift my chest halfway, turn my right toes out, turn my left toes to the sky. My right knee is opening up over my right toes. Big stretch time. Don't forget, boom, I could slide a block under my hips. That's always good. Maybe I push the knee open, lift the chest a little bit more. If I want a little bit more, right arm in front, left arm up. Man, Skandasana, big pose. I'm turning open to the left. There's even a bind here. It is like a shoulder opener. Won't make you hold this one too long. Big pose, yogi. Slowly press through center and left knee bends. Don't forget, block under the hips if you need. Right toes to the sky. My left toes are slightly probably turned out for most people here. They can be forward eventually, but just make sure that left knee isn't buckling inward. All right, left knee might push the left elbow might push the left knee open a little bit, lifting that chest. Some of us might kind of open those arms or even work on a bind here.
Notice if I'm binding, my arm is in front, around, behind that left leg. All right, yogis, take your time here. Pivot forward. I mean, I'm at the front of my mat. You might not be. Walk your hands toward the front of your mat. Let's step it back here. Chaturanga Vinyasa. And today we'll do that kind of dynamic pigeon work. You know, instead of always holding that posture, I've had you now activate in it, and I'd like you to start being able to kind of move in and out of it. That's functional body form. It's not just being really flexible in some end range, but building the ability to move in and out of it and be strong in that range you're developing. Okay, so I'm going to use my blocks. I like to demo with the blocks just to encourage you to, you know, be easy if you need. So it looks like this. It's pretty easy. Right shin forward, chest lifts. Inhale, pigeon. Right foot back, down dog. Exhale. Left foot, left shin forward, chest lifts. Inhale. Exhale, down dog. That's it. So it's a dynamic pigeon. Let's just say a moving pigeon. Right shin forward. Inhale. Right foot back, down dog. Exhale. Left shin forward. Inhale. Chest lifts. Left foot back. Exhale. Continuing. If you need to hold the pose today, I get it. But we tend to do that way more often. Okay, so let's get into this a little bit more. Nice. Yeah, you can add a little leg lift. You can add a softer variation. Nice little figure four. Nice, adding a little forward fold there. Last few moments, please. You know, it's just like anything, you're trying to get like a certain amount of, you know, reps. You know, you don't go do one push-up, you would try to do 10 or 15, right? It's kind of a similar thing here. It's the repetition that's creating the change or the release here. And that is part of our little back bending, right? We just came from the high lunge twist, a lot of like rotation. And you're kind of more, and this is a little bit more back bend, forward bend, all right? You know, there is some rotational quality in that hip. All right, now I'm gonna kind of keep you moving forward. We only have about 14 minutes left, and I wanna finish up here with just one last kind of opportunity for a core. I'm not gonna do a ton of abs today, yogis. We did a lot on Tuesday and a little bit over the weekend as well. But, you know, something to tighten up that core if you'd like. I'm gonna move forward, sitting on the glutes here. I'm gonna lay right on the back. I won't do the high bolt because it's hip flexors. I think we did a good amount there, but more a little bit abs here. Okay, so I'm just gonna like hold my low boat. If I want a little bit more, legs can go forward, chest can pulse, or you could do your little leg swings here. Just take it slow, yogis. A little easier. It is head, arms on the floor, but you gotta keep that lower back down, yogis. All right, those legs going forward, it wants to cause my lower back to arch. Please be aware of that. A few more breaths.
dead bug would be easier. If you don't need your abs today, some of you are doing a lot of abs probably on your own. You could start your stretching here. I will just encourage some bridge. We didn't do many active back bends today. So we're going to do that classic kind of yoga ending here, bridge or a wheel pose if you're up for it, okay? I tend to do, like I've said, I tend to do just abs regularly. I won't I'll do like 1 or 2 sets, like multiple days a week. Personally, I don't go and do like 10 sets of abs one day in particular. It's more like, maintenance, maintaining core strength, consistency for me. I'm not really doing it in a way where I'm trying to get a 6 pack or anything like that. If you want a 6 pack, you take a little different than we do it. All right. So when you're done there, think of that by being like your front core. It's like your final back bend, forward bend combo here. It would be the glutes. I like to remind you, glutes kind of need, even though we did squats, lunges, and hinges, glutes need that kind of direct attention, that hip thrust. And bridge is a fantastic way to do it. If you're done, a little restorative bridge will do you good. If you're up for it, let's do some bridge work, 2 to 3 rounds. Feet right beyond your sit bones, lift those hips up. I like to lift up, hold, slowly lower about half, 3/4, lift up, hold, even in a little pausing. If I'm feeling good, I'll do my one-legged. If I'm feeling great, I'll do the wheel, flip the hands over the shoulders. Elbows hug in, press through the feet, lift the hips, press through the hands, lift that head up. Everything lifts. So final back bending of class, yogis. After this, we will unwind a little bit, all right? Oh, nice, Brian, little angled bridge. It's a great one. He's doing the butterfly, knees apart, feet together bridge. Really nice glute trainer. Remember, you can turn squats into a lot of glutes. You can turn hinges into a lot of glutes. Lunges can be done in a way where they're really glute oriented, but those 3 that previous mentioned aren't like a isolated glute. You have to kind of take extra awareness and steps to have a hinge, lunge, or squat hit your glutes well. But this is literally like directly for the glutes. That's why on a lot of EMG charts, they basically have the hip thrust as number 1. Some of the other more advanced EMG charts, the pistol squat is usually number 1 for glute firing. That's a one-legged full range squat. Now, it's very risky and not really doable, so I don't include that. Nice, Brian. Nice. So this is final back bending or back body activating. Back body shortening is another way we say it. When a muscle contracts, it kind of like shortens. I mentioned lengthen. I said people want to stretch very lengthened muscles. When a muscle is stretching, it's lengthening usually, right? That's how a muscle works. It shortens, contracts, and lengthens as it doesn't contract. All right, the sliding mechanism of the muscles. Last few moments. I can give you about another minute, yogis. And we got about 9 minutes on the clock. I'll give you a stretch or 2 and then a nice closing meditation. All right. So your couple years are still going, right? Please take your time. I think it was a pretty well-rounded class. We actually lacked a little bit of balance, I would say. We're going to do a more heavy balance this coming Saturday. But as far as stretch, I think upper body is pretty good. We did pretty good on the hips, right? Pyramid was hamstrings. Pigeon dynamic today was nice. You might want a stretchy twist or a quadricep stretch. We didn't really go there. All right, or a nice meter rotation stretch. So let me see, it looks like most of you are done with your back bends. That's about right. We got about 8 minutes left here, yogis. So can I give you a quick demo and I'll let you kind of choose a stretch.
This is a really good one, yogis. The knees go bent to the sky, feet wide, knees not to the right. Take it slow. Right foot on outer left knee. So again, the right foot is creating an internal weight-bearing rotation, right? So it's hard to see sometimes. Let's see if I can go here. See that one? That's a really good one here. It's not really that much of a spinal twist. It might be a little bit, but it's more of that really big internal hip rotation. Another nice stretch, yogis, is on your back. You let roll to the side and grab top foot to top hand here, top hand to top foot, and you kind of pull that heel to the butt, stretching the front of the thigh. You know, they're both going to get like TFL. They're kind of similar a little bit. And another nice one could just be laying on your back, bringing your knees into your chest, dropping over to the side. Now you got time for a stretch or two. So just mentioning a few that I might instruct at this point based on what we've done today. And you know, the first two mentioned stretches are kind of done a little less compared to things like figure four and just like a hamstring stretch. And really, they're the opposite, right? The first stretch with the knee knocking in is the internal rotation. The figure four is the lateral rotation of the external. And I mentioned the hamstrings are done a lot. The second one where you reach behind you is the quad. It's the opposite muscle group, let's say, of your hamstring. Maybe you take one more stretch. Again, a spinal twist might be good for some of us. We did a good amount of twisting. A block supported position, legs up the wall. We didn't do many inversions today. Throwing those legs up. Plow pose, swinging the legs up over the body is an amazing ending as well. Kind of going for that hold, even to shoulder stand. Block under the head for a little neck massage. If you got a foam roller handy, you roll out the back a little bit. What's one more thing that you could kind of unwind with, close up your practice to meditate after, yogis? Sorry, yogis, my computer is starting to do this thing again where it's, some of you look frozen there. Closing some of my programs. If you guys ever can't hear me well, just make sure you like text me in the chat or something if it starts to freeze, or I don't know if it's only happening on my screen on my end or if it's happening. All right. Now you know what to do, yogis. Let's seal this in. You know, that subtle layer we opened with the meditation, and now we revisit maybe that intention setting. Intention setting, you know, those in your mind's eye imagination, working that visualization process of what you're working on in life in many forms. Your thoughts and inner vision is aligning with your goals. All right. Looks like everyone's there. Closing meditation, please. 5 minutes.